Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Uncork Corner podcast. I'm Nick. I'm here with my co-host Bianca, and we're excited to have a real treat on the podcast today. It's a real treat cookies. These are cookies that they're designed to be paired with different alcohols and different foods and things. So this is an exciting one to try. It definitely meshes well with what we've been doing. We've gotten to try a lot of different cool, unique beverages on the podcast, and we're excited to get to try them with these awesome cookies. So, Jacqueline, let's have you introduce yourself, and we'll get into the tasting after.
Yay. Hey, guys. Thanks so much for having me on. This is going to be so much fun. I love doing live tasting. So I'm the founder of Real Treat. I'm Jacqueline Day. And at Real Treat, we are all about making really delicious, indulgent, organic food, and primarily cookies. We have two lines of cookies. The line of cookies that you're going to try today is from our top shelf line. And those are the cookies that are really creative flavors that are designed for the grown-up palate. These are not cookies that you would necessarily put in your kid's lunchbox. I mean, my kid, yes, but she's born with my freaky palate, so she happens to love them. But these are really cookies for grown-ups. And we're based in Western Canada. We make all of these ourselves in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, west of Calgary. And we've been doing this for about 5.5 years now.
Awesome.
So you guys are doing a lot of,
go ahead, Bianca.
Jumped right in on me. So you guys are doing a lot of cool stuff. So I was just going to ask how you came up with the idea in the beginning. Like, what was like the very beginning pinnacle that said, okay, we have to do this. This is like such a great idea.
Well, one of the important things about our brand that I should have mentioned before already is that everything we make is certified organic. So part of what was the passion and inspiration for starting my brand was that I care a lot about organics. I'm very invested in organic agriculture. And I also really love cookies, and I love treats, and I love food that tastes good. And I've been making cookies my whole life, and I'm passionate about flavor, and I've always cooked creatively. But when I went looking for a cookie that was indulgent and yummy and also organic, what I found was, well, there weren't really any options. There were a bunch of, in the natural organic food space, the treat aisle tends to be dominated by functional food and things for people with dietary restrictions, and there really wasn't anything that was yummy and made with butter. We're also the only organic cookie that's being made with butter too, which is another distinguishing factor. So when I noticed that didn't exist for people like me, I was really inspired to start something. But then, of course, when I create something, anybody who knows me wouldn't be surprised that I launched my company with a bunch of wacky flavors, because that's what I like to do. I like to challenge people's expectations for what a traditional food category is maybe supposed to taste like, or how it's meant to be experienced. And so the Real Treat, the top shelf flavors, which is what we launched the company with, are really inspired by really great meals that I've had at awesome restaurants, and trips I've taken to France, and great barbecue I've had in the American South, and all these kinds of great flavors that I associate with my favorite stories that really inspire a lot of what I make in my kitchen. But really, that was what compelled me to make these flavors into a cookie.
Great. And I first ran into you actually on touchofmodern.com. I always like looking through there and seeing
cool.
all the crazy stuff that they have on there. And I saw your cookies, and I'm like, wow, these sound awesome. How do I get my hands on these? And
Right on.
I figured it'd be a perfect fit to get to try them with you live.
So cool.
So I know I've gotten to I've tried one of each. I snuck into them a bit. I brought them to Bianca the other day. She's got all the nice packaging and everything, because she's the one that does all the photographs. So she'll have those with her, and we both have them, and we're ready to get into tasting if you want to dig into that.
That's so cool. Can I guide it a little bit?
Yeah, you're the master.
I would say that we should definitely think about doing this like a flight.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Right? So, and when you're tasting flights of beer or flights of wine, you want to start with the more delicate flavors, right? So the one we're going to start with then tonight is our lemon sablé with herbe de Provence. And that one, I believe you're pairing with champagne or Prosecco. You got
I
that?
only had rosé prosecco, so I hope that works.
Yeah, I mean, it can work. Well, you'll tell
Tell
me.
to make it work.
I have regular, so we'll
bad.
get to do
I
a
thought I
little,
had regular
comparison.
and I didn't. I took it out and I was like, oh my God, it's pink.
It'll be great. I'm sure it'll be great.
Now, when approaching these, would you recommend having some of the drink first, then the cookie, and then maybe chasing with the drink, or go straight to the cookie? How would you recommend the best way to?
I think you could ready your palate with a small sip of a drink, like to get, get those notes going. And then I would have once the alcohol has kind of left your palate a little bit, the burn is gone, then I would go into the cookie. You'll find this one is buttery.
Buttery. So let's see. Bust it out now. As I dig in on camera, I'm sure
As
the
you dig
listeners
in.
are loving this.
So I'll talk a little bit about what I expect you're going to be experiencing, and you'll tell me if I'm on the mark. So I think that with that cookie, but really all of our cookies, it'll start off tasting one way, and then it'll kind of evolve on your palate, much like a nice wine will, right? So at first you're getting that butteriness and probably a lot of herbaceousness, right? A lot of thyme and rosemary and lavender, and then as it kind of works its way through your palate, you'll get that fresh burst of fresh lemon. We zest all the lemons in house and use fresh lemon juice. There's no artificial, or in parentheses, natural even flavoring going on there. It's all food, right? So you'll have that herbaceousness, the buttery, the sweet, the fresh citrus in the finish, and then it should just kind of mellow out to a nice buttery sweet.
That's great.
What do you think? Yeah.
Yeah.
If you
that's
guys
tasty.
had cheese too, I would suggest, pairing that one with a nice brie or a really fresh goat cheese is also really nice with that one.
I could definitely see myself putting that on a cheese board. But I
Oh, yeah.
love anything lemon. Like Nick knows, I'm all about like the sour everything, tart everything. So I love the lemon. It's very good.
But yeah, that cookie actually, and the next one we're going to try, they do go on a lot of cheese boards. We have a number of fine cheese shops that sell this cookie.
I could definitely see that being paired with different cheese and things. And for the taste,
Great.
you hit the nail on the head. Definitely, first thing I got when I took the first bite was like a wash of like butteriness over my mouth. And then you get some of that, like you were talking about, the herbaceousness as well, that comes in. And then that lemon on the end, especially after chasing it with a little bit of the Prosecco and really letting it wash over. And like, I felt like the lemon really came on strong at the end. You could really start tasting it was building and building in the tongue. So that was
cool.
Very tasty.
Right on. So and we've had a little trip to Provence with that cookie and that wine experience. And so next we're gonna kind of go to Florence, go to Tuscany a little bit with some fennel, and the Tuscans might challenge our choice of beverage. So let's pretend we're Belgians visiting Italy. The next one is our salted caramel shorty with fennel. So this cookie we make our own caramel as well. So we make chunks of salted caramel that we smash up with sledgehammers and bake into that cookie with whole fennel seeds, and then we actually let the dough sit for a period of time to let the flavor from the fennel seed really permeate the cookie. So again, kind of like the lemon one, you've got a little bit of sweet and savory. So that one's also another great one to have with cheese, but we really like this one as opposed to wine, which we just had. We really like to enjoy this one with a nice Belgian ale that's got a nice balance between sweet and bitter.
This is one that I was excited to try too, because this is also a new one for me with this beer, the Belgian. I went to my local liquor store, as I was saying before we jumped on here, and it's Naranka Back to Black Noir de Datiens, however you pronounce that.
Yeah,
that's a new one.
cool.
So yeah,
Nick
it's the
did
first
go
on the beer
searching
too.
for it.
I like that
But
one.
initial reaction before I chase it, definitely more of the buttery taste on this.
Mhm.
And then you can definitely taste that fennel as well at the end. I don't get the same sweetness and citrusiness that I did on the last one. It's just more of a mellow, buttery, smooth cookie,
Mhm.
almost like a biscuit. It's very tasty though so far.
Cool. Yeah, it's a
I just,
shortbread,
yeah,
that one.
I just
so
love that it
makes sense.
smells like the salted caramel. Like it hits you before you even eat it. It's so
Nice.
nice. It's like an overall like experience with the cookie. But it definitely has a nice
Cool.
salty flavor, which is awesome. And it's interesting because I never would think to pair those two things. So it's very cool.
Cool. That's fun. I'm so glad you're enjoying that.
I went rogue and I paired it with a maple cream stout, and it is
Oh.
it's very good.
I bet that would be awesome.
Yeah, I had it in the fridge. Nick gave it to me. It's actually from
Nice.
Maine, and I was like, I could try with the Belgian, but I was like, this seems like it'd be a perfect pairing. It's very, very tasty together.
No, I like your rogue styles. I think that would be, I can imagine that being very good.
Yeah, Bianca so far came in with a rosé prosecco
I
and a
know.
maple cream beer. She's definitely hasn't
great.
hit the mark yet. I'm excited to see what she brought for the next two.
I promise I have the scotch and I have the red wine, so we're good with those two.
Brilliant. I mean, the suggested pairings were, I bring your own creativity to it. Why not? Right?
Yeah.
Like you guys have great palettes too. I'm sure you could. I want to try the things that you pair down with them, Bianca.
Also,
try that
this beer, by
Highly
the way,
recommend.
just to give this beer a little bit of review, this is also delicious.
It's way
Bianca,
good.
I think you would
Wow.
probably like this as well because it does have a lot of almost a bitteriness that you get in like a sour fermented type of beer as well. So again, it's the Durank Back to Black. Apparently, the importer around here near me went out of business, so they
Oh.
might not have this one again for a while. So they
Oh.
told me I got it at just the right time to try it. But the guy that
Sure.
ran the store said that it's one of his favorites. He said it's delicious. So
Nice.
if you can find it, give it a try. It's tasty.
Cool. I'm so glad we steered you well. So now the next one we're gonna try is going to be quite a departure, especially texture-wise, from the last two. So the last ones really have kind of that shortbread mouthfeel. This next cookie it's a crunchy cookie. And so this one is our dark chocolate chunk with smoked pecans. So we smoke the nuts in-house with apple wood. So you should get some of that nice smoke on the nose. And Bianca, I gotta check in with you because it looks like you might have the wrong cookie.
Uh-oh.
Yep. Yeah, I think you were trying the double dark chocolate.
I totally was,
You totally-
which is incredible, by the way, but we're not there yet. I put them in front of the
We'll get
wrong
there.
boxes when I took them
Yeah.
out.
But I can tell the look on your face was like smoky. I'm not getting
Like, yeah, I was like, that's not the right flavor.
Yep, this one is all smoke. You definitely get that on the nose, especially. And I know when we were preparing for this, you said not to really clash it with a really peated scotch, but this is the one that you suggested, a nice smoky scotch to go with,
Mhm.
and single malt specifically.
Mhm.
So that's what I ended up going with. I found something mid-range. Went with the Glendronach 12 Highland
favorite.
single malt. Yeah,
I
it's the
love
first
Glendronach.
time.
Yep.
Strength and
Great.
Scotch podcast. Shout out to those guys. We had them on recently to do a whole episode on smoky scotches and smoking foods. I've been listening to them for years.
Nice.
I'm big into smoking food, so I'm excited to hear. We're definitely going to talk a little bit about the process of smoking the nuts before we go on.
Yep.
But this is one that Grant recommended from them, and it hasn't led me astray so far. It's delicious. So I'm a big Scotch
Good.
guy and a whiskey. So when you suggested this one, I got really excited. And I knew exactly which bottle I wanted to pick up to try out. So let's try the cookie.
That's so great.
That is an interesting cookie. I like it. It's different. It's definitely different. I don't think I've ever had anything like that before. It's cool with the scotch because I wouldn't have, I don't know, I guess I never would have thought like to pair those two things, but I love them together. They're very interesting.
Great. I'm so glad to hear it.
I'm sure Nick's gonna love it.
Ideally, you would, if you were able, you'd pop them in just a low oven for a couple of minutes before tasting them, just to get that dark chocolate a little bit melty.
Yep. I heated them up before starting, and the chocolate's still a little melty. The cookie's not warm
Nice.
anymore, but the chocolate is still melty. So
Good. Yeah, we use 70% dark chocolate in those, and I find that using a chocolate that's not very sweet really works well with the smoke. And then it lets the nuttiness shine as well.
Yeah. And
So that one's a lot of fun.
dark chocolate everything is it's so good. So
Yeah.
good. And with the smoky flavor, it's even better. It's a great accent.
Cool.
Really like it.
Yeah, that's
I'm
like
so
a
glad you like
perfect
it.
match. That's probably going to be my favorite cookie on the plate. I love that.
Is it the cookie or the pairing?
I think it's the cookie, but the
Nick
pairing
loves
doesn't
both.
hurt. The pairing
You
doesn't
know,
hurt.
And Nick, it's not a surprise that you like that cookie. Not to say that you're unoriginal, but men like that cookie a lot. And we sell a ton of that cookie to guys, especially like Father's Day. We sell a ton of it. We actually almost called that cookie the dude. And then it didn't go with the other flavor names, so we dropped it. But yeah, it's a guy's favorite cookie.
Super
Right on.
tasty.
Nice with good bourbon too.
Yeah, I definitely have that over there too. So maybe I'll have to give that one a try next out of the room.
Excellent.
But that's I'm not as into sweet and tart and things like that and fruity as much as I am. I love a good chocolate, good dark chocolate, and something more along those lines. And
Right on.
that is just, it hits the nail on the head. The nuttiness is perfect in it. You get that right in the end there with the pecans, and the chocolate is awesome, especially when you melt it and heat it up.
Cool.
I can't get enough of that one. That's
Great. I love to hear that. That's so good. So you guys ready for dessert now? I mean, I
I'm
know
ready
you've
for
had
dessert.
3 cookies, but this is the dessert cookie.
I already cheated and ate dessert.
dessert first.
Happy accident, right, Bianca?
It was. I already know I love it.
So this is our double dark chocolate with a twist. And the twist in this cookie is a little bit of candied lemon peel. So again, we make that in-house. Thankfully, I have an awesome team that puts up with my wacky ideas, and we peel those lemons and candy them in-house and chop them up and pair that with that dark chocolate. And that was, for me, really inspired by those really yummy chocolate covered dried citrus petals that come over from Italy at Christmas time. I love that flavor. Can't get enough with it. And so that's what that cookie's all about. And what red wine do you have with it? I'm assuming you've got one.
I have a Zinfandel.
A Zinfandel,
Is
perfect.
I do
Which is
also.
not my favorite.
Yeah.
I will say I'm not a big wine guy, but this is
Yeah.
not my favorite wine. I tried it before the cookie, but
Mhm.
I won't recommend this wine.
No.
It's
Now that-
exquisite.
But the grape variety, like the Zinfandel style in particular, or that wine you're drinking, that
It's my first
version of it.
Zinfandel, so I
Oh.
don't know. 7 Deadly Zins. It was like 15
Okay.
bucks. I don't know if it's a good one or not. Probably not, but that's the one that I found.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like any, as I know, and like any wine variety, there's, the good and the bad. But pairing red wine with chocolate, of course, is classic. Pairing it with chocolate that is also sweeter and buttery is a little bit more of a challenge. So that's why, a Zinfandel or even the sparkling red, that's at the dry end of a dessert wine. The Italian ones,
yeah.
the words escaped me. Hang on a second. I know I've got it. That would have been awesome. The Lambrusco Dolce. I don't know if you've ever
I'll
had
look
one of
that up.
those. Yeah, it's you actually serve it chilled. It's a red wine that's bubbly, and you serve
Nice.
it chilled, and it's just a little bit fairly sweet, not as sweet as a dessert wine, but that one would also be really good.
The Zinfandel that I have had several times is the Coppola Diamond Zinfandel.
Mhm.
And we love all Coppola wines. So
Mhm.
I knew I would like the wine. So
Yeah.
Nick, you should have asked me for recommendation.
I should
There you
have.
go.
I should have.
That's what I'm here for.
Now on the cookie, I
Mhm.
will say this one, most interesting texture so far, because it started off crunchy and then it seemed to melt in my mouth. It
Mhm.
was super tasty, super
Great.
chocolatey. And then at the end, I definitely get that sort of citrus freshness and
Just in the
almost on your
finish.
breath
Yeah.
afterward, like you can taste it on your tongue. It's perfect.
Excellent. That's exactly the journey I expected you to take with that. So I'm so glad to hear it. Yeah, that's a rich cookie. I think
It's a toss up for me. It's between that and the lemon.
okay,
I mean, they're both great.
cool. That's well, we aim to make 4 very unique cookies. You know, I think that if you look at most cookie brands, what they'll do is they'll like create one cookie base and then they'll flavor it 6 different ways. That's really not what we're doing. We're creating like very unique standalone formulas. So I'm so glad that that you picked up on that and enjoyed it. That's so cool.
And I think definitely the pairings enhance it. If you have the opportunity to have these things and try them with the cookies, because like I said, I tried them all before, but I didn't try them all with the pairings, and they were all good before. But by themselves, I feel like you don't really get the experience that you get when you get to chase it with something or lead it up with something that is similar, that complements it. It really makes it more of a whole mouth, like rich experience.
Right on.
One thing that I'm
Great.
curious about is you said you have multiple lines. So the other lines that you have, are they also kind of quirky flavors, or are they more of a traditional sweet sort of desserty cookie?
So we started with Top Shelf. Top Shelf is my art, really. That's my creative expression in cookie form. And you know, once I got into that line after a couple of years, I looked around and realized that there still wasn't anybody making a really good organic cookie in the flavors we all grew up with. You know, the ones that we were getting out of our grandma's kitchen ovens after school and stuff like that. So I started Pantry. So Real Treat Pantry is more traditional flavors. Again, what sets ours apart, like, you know, we're talking flavors like oatmeal raisin, chocolate chunk, my grandma's brown sugar shortbread's in there. We also have dark chocolate almond with sea salt, which happens to be wheat-free. So my gluten-free friends like that one. So they're, you know, there's certainly more, they're flavors you would expect, but we go out of our way to execute them really well, right? So like those oatmeal raisin cookies have really fat, juicy raisins in them and cinnamon, and they're really buttery and the texture's awesome. And the chocolate chunk cookie, we're using the same great chocolate we use in our Top Shelf line. So it's not a Chips Ahoy by any means, but it is, you know, a great cookie for people who love chocolate chunk cookies. So, so that is our more traditional line. Again, certified organic and made with butter, and you can certainly taste the butter. One of the things about the cookies we make is that, and I think, well, I'd like to hear your feedback on this. I believe that our cookies are so flavorful, whether it's this line or our Pantry line, that they're pretty satisfying, right? Like we're not just relying on sugar for flavor in either cookie line. It's about the really good quality ingredients. So you can have one or two and be, you know, be good, be satisfied. Yep. Whereas if you grab, like, well, I mentioned Chips Ahoy, not to pick on Chips Ahoy, but like a regular, like a palm oil based sugar first grocery cookie, let's say that. And you could polish off an entire row of those bad boys and still not feel satisfied because it's crappy, right? Crappy ingredients. So, you know, so that's a big priority for everything we make, is that we're very driven by great ingredients. And then in addition to cookies, well, we have a holiday line as well. So we make really great ginger cookies that are a little bit wacky because they have chunks of candied ginger and they're super spicy, and those are really good. And we make a spiced pecan shortbread that's made with ground nuts, and that one's really fun too. And that's just at Christmas time. But what we're in the soft launch phase for now, so I'll give you a little sneak peek, is that we're making, we've just soft launched a line of drinking chocolate that is totally awesome. And drinking chocolate is different from hot chocolate. Do you know what the difference is between drinking chocolate and hot chocolate?
Yeah. Drinking chocolate tends to be richer, right?
Very. Yeah. So it's not very sweet. So it's thicker. It's unlike a cocoa that you would maybe mix with water and put marshmallows in. This is like you're melting chocolate into milk or nut milk. And then we incorporate spices in ours because we don't do very much that's just straight up. So we have one that's our ancho chili drinking chocolate that's a bit spicy. It's got some nice heat.
That's the
and
one
then
for me
Nick, I
right
see
there.
you
I can
over
tell
there.
you. And my wheels are spinning. I'm excited for that one.
Every
I'm a-
podcast, Nick sneaks in something about spicy food.
Always.
Oh yeah.
Always.
Okay. Well, we'll have to get you some of that then.
Definitely.
And then we've got our aromatic one that does have aromatic spices in it. It's not as spicy, but
And that one's
um,
Bianca because she's more of a gin
Okay.
drinker. So
I do
Good to
love
know.
him.
that's going to be her.
cool.
But all in on those spices. And to kind of pull it back a little bit to where you want our feedback on that, I totally agree. These aren't cookies that, you know, I'm going to want to shovel down a whole sleeve of. They're something that you're going to go slower and really mull over the flavors and think on them a bit more. And I think that's why the pairing is also important because it gets you to like, I've never spent longer eating and thinking about half of a cookie in my life because I'm thinking about it and
I love
waiting
it.
for the flavors to develop.
Cool.
And it's the same kind of strategy. I mean, strategy approach that I take to drinking where I don't want to, you know, sit here and pound 8 domestic beers. I'm going to pick a good kind of
Mhm.
unique beer and mull it over for 30 minutes to an hour and just kind of take it slow. Or same with scotch. I'm going to sip on a scotch. I'm going to think about
Yeah.
it. I'm going to kind of work those nose and mouth muscles and try to pull out tastes and smells. And I'm
Mhm.
doing the same thing with these cookies and approaching it that way. It makes it more of the experience that we always talk about and less of just something that you're eating.
Oh, that's so great. You guys, I can't tell you how great it is to share cookies with people who get it, you know, who will stop and savor them and you know, get what we're doing over here. It's super fun for me. So
Fun for us too, trust me.
It is.
so thanks
It's
for
my
that.
first
That's so
cookie
good.
tasting, which
Nice.
is great. And Nick knows I've done a lot of wine tastings with, you know, cheese and chocolate and all different things. I
Mhm.
pretty much pair wine with every dish, but I've never actually gone to pair with cookies, and I love that. I mean, it makes so much sense. And one other thing I love about your cookies, which is different than a lot of them, a lot of cookies come, they're really soft. I love when they have like a little bit of crunch. So I love that they have that because
Mhm.
I lean in that direction anyway. Like I'd rather
Mhm.
burn my cookies a little bit if I'm
Mhm.
making them myself than not. So I love that
getcha.
these have that crunch, but you still get all the flavor. Like it's not like a burnt flavor, it's a perfect flavor, but you still get a little bit of that soft when you heat it up, but you in a little bit of crunch at the same time. So that's
Thank you. I think so. I mean, texture is really important, right?
Yeah.
So I bet you're like me. I bet you eat the brownies out of the corner of the pan too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Every
Yep.
time.
We overcook our pizza. We do
We
everything.
do.
Yeah.
We
That's
order
it.
everything well done. not me. Nick, no, I shouldn't have gone there.
You know,
Nick.
we
You didn't do
actually
that.
on the pizza note, when we order our pizza, we then put it on a pizza stone in our oven, like when we order it in. So we get like that nice. Yeah. So on the same page.
Yep. Yeah, we're big.
Gotcha.
We're a big pizza family. We always make our own pizza, and whenever I make it, pizza stone, get a nice crispy bottom. It's perfect.
Mhm.
Overcook the
Yep.
cheese just a little bit, so you
Yep.
get a nice crunch on top. That's what we like. But
Yep.
I know Bianca is known to bring cheese boards and platters and extravagant layouts to every family party. So I'm
Yes.
sure these cookies are going to end up making it on there
And you'll see
in the
one on
future.
Sunday, and I might include the cookies because I have them.
Oh, cool.
So
Ooh.
I
Great.
might as well. It's a dessert board. It's an Easter board.
We got to do it. Yeah. We gotta
I'll
do
bring
it.
the
I look forward to
booze.
seeing some pictures then.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll get pictures. Nick knows I always share the pictures.
That's so great. This has been fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
I know you wanted to ask about the smoking of the nuts.
Yes,
So I thought I would tell you a little story about that.
sure.
So when I was developing all these flavors, all these cookies, we're big on barbecue in my house. We have, how many smokers do we have back there now? I think we've got 3. Like we love food, but my partner is big on working the smoker all summer long. So we were going to be having a few people over barbecue the next day, and I was in product development mode. But then I woke up at like 4 a.m. and went, smoker's going tomorrow. I gotta smoke some nuts. I have to figure out if I can smoke some nuts. And so then I stole the smoker before you could get any meat on there, and smoked some nuts and got them into a cookie. And it was like the first batch was just, oh yeah, that's a winner.
So here's I'm big into smoking foods. When I moved from my parents' house to my apartment, I went from 2 smokers to 0.
Oh
And,
yeah, you
then
can't do that. in an
I
apartment.
had a failed experiment last year where I bought a new one for my girlfriend's little vacation house, and that smoker after 3 uses ended up rusting out on me, so I had to return it to
Oh.
Lowe's. So I'm on the hunt for a new one.
Mhm.
But I have never tried smoking nuts or really any desserts. I've considered doing pies and stuff before, but I haven't gotten myself to do it yet. It's all
Mhm.
been the traditional barbecue meats and then some other appetizers, mac and cheese, things like that. When you're smoking the nuts, what's the, I guess, time and temperature is a big one when it comes to smoking, because obviously you're not smoking to a certain internal temperature.
No,
You can't stick a thermometer inside a pecan.
no.
And are you just putting it in some sort of maybe like a porous basket, like a strainer, so the smoke really gets around it, or is it just in a
Yeah.
a container on there? What are you doing with that?
Well, we're getting into like trade secret territory.
Okay, all right. In
But
general,
I can share a couple of things with you.
in general,
So,
if you were to
in
Google it,
general-
what's top result?
I don't know how other people are doing it. I just kind of came up with my own way and didn't bother. I mean, now it's occurring to me, maybe there's a better way and I should have Googled it. I don't know, but what we do works really well. So we take our nuts and we wrap them in cheesecloth, essentially, which involves a lot of metal clips. And then we, as far as temperature with the smoker, we really just try and keep just enough temperature to keep smoke moving. We don't want to roast those nuts because they're going to go in the oven when we bake the cookie. And what we want is that nice smoke flavor, not roasted, overcooked flavor, right? So we keep it's a pretty cool running smoker. And the timing really, well, it's like you smoke, you know what it's like. Depends on the weather, depends on how windy it is outside. When we're smoking in the middle of February, it takes a little bit longer in Western Canada when it's like -10 outside Celsius, not Fahrenheit, but still. So that it really is driven by senses. We stop, we taste, we know when we're there, and we go from there. But we're doing around about a kilo at a time. So it's a process. But we use our Weber Rocky Mountain smoker. There's a plug for Weber. They should send me a free smoker.
Yeah.
They should sponsor your show.
There you go.
So yeah, and we use exclusively apple wood. We did try out a couple of other woods, but apple wood I find is the nicest flavor. Some people think our cookie tastes like bacon sometimes, and I think that's the apple wood resonance,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, a bacon cookie would be good.
It would be the not so shelf stable, and yeah. So, but it was an idea. But yeah, meat in a cookie.
Yeah.
That's how we stuck with the applewood nuts, because we kind of achieved that.
Yep.
Right.
And I think that's definitely probably a friendlier smoke than going with a
Mhm.
mesquite or a hickory or something like that, where you're going to have a lot more of the smoke in it. Some of that more, fruit wood.
Yeah, and we really needed something that was going to play well with the chocolate too.
Yeah.
And it be distinct, but friendly, right?
Definitely.
So that's how we kind of landed on that.
What is the craziest flavor you've played with?
Oh gosh, it's such a great question that I'm so unprepared for.
Sorry.
Because I haven't thought about this in a while. I think we played with ginger and chocolate a bit. Because I know a really good chocolate maker who puts some candied ginger in their chocolate, and it's great. It didn't work very well baked though, so I just buy her chocolate bar now and enjoy that. Definitely, when we were coming out with the chocolate cookie, that was probably the one that had the most options. It was like you do chocolate and orange, chocolate and lemons, chocolate and ginger, chili chocolate. I really liked our chili chocolate cookie a lot. But there was another one out there and kind of in the same space. And we thought, we're trying to be different. That's part of what we do, is that we're making flavors nobody else is doing. So, I won't say that I thought my chocolate chili cookie was better, but it might have been.
You can say it.
I think we landed on
it. Probably was.
But it wasn't to market first. No, I really like the experience of our chocolate cookie that has the lemon, because as Nick said, the lemon comes through just in the finish. It's kind of a little surprise. Whereas with the chili, it tends to really dominate. So I think we landed in the right place with that. I would say those are probably the craziest ones I remember. That was some time ago, Bianca. Thanks for
If you're looking
I'll
for
probably think of a
crazy-
bunch after.
Try.
if you're looking for a fun ginger combination, one of our previous guests in the podcast, Boston Harbor Distillery, who makes
Oh,
some
yeah.
really cool stuff, and they do a lot of interesting finishes and things. They actually came out with a maple ginger scorpion pepper whiskey called Demon.
Come on.
Yeah.
Nick
And
loves talking about this.
I love talking about this because again,
Maple
I always sneak
Ginger,
spice in here.
Scorpion.
He
Crazy.
does.
Yeah.
I thought
So
I had to hear it.
I have to try that.
Yeah, so it's not spicy in the way of like a fireball, like a cinnamon whiskey type of deal. It's way better. It is when you drink it, the way they describe it, you get the heat from the pepper, and I tend to get it more, back of the tongue throat with the scorpion pepper.
Yeah.
It's not like a tingly like lip spice.
Mhm.
And then you get the maple, and then you get the ginger, and it's like a sequence of events that comes through.
Cool.
It's a really, really cool whiskey. If you're not big into spice, which I know like some people in my family aren't,
Love it.
they didn't like it as much. But
Mm.
everyone that can tolerate spice and that likes putting spices on their foods and hot sauce and things loves it.
I think I'd be all
really
over that. I'm gonna have to track that down.
Yeah, it's definitely delicious. It's really complex in a way that like just like your cookies, where the different flavors come through at different times, but the whole
Mhm.
experience together really makes it a really fun thing to drink. And if you but there's a little I guess
Cool.
hint for you for your next cookie. I want something to pair with that. So make me a maple
Okay.
ginger scorpion pepper cookie, and then you can incorporate your ginger too.
Okay, well, we've got no shortage of maple up
There you
here,
go.
as you well know. So
I'm in
I'll
Maine,
get working on that.
so we're
Okay,
yeah,
so you're maple friendly too.
exactly. It's all around.
That's so great. No, I gotta try that. That sounds awesome.
I love plugging that one. And I always got to sneak some spice in. That's
Yeah. We're gonna have to
Done
get you
that
some
a
of
few
our drinking
times.
chocolate for sure.
definitely. So on that note, where can people get their hands on these cookies? Because I'm sure after listening to this, everyone's going to want to try some.
Well, the path of least resistance is our website, which is realtreat.ca, because we're in Canada. But our cookies are available at over 100 independent retailers throughout the US now, and more in Canada, where if you go onto our website, you can actually go and click on stockists and put your zip code in there, and it'll help you find a retailer that's nearby. Not every retailer carries every cookie, but you should be able to track them down. If you don't find one near you, just place an order on our website. We offer free shipping with pretty reasonable minimums, and we ship them all over the world. I shipped some cookies to Amsterdam this morning, so
Wow.
yeah, so we loved, it's so fun. I don't know if you can see, well, your listeners won't be able to see, but for the benefit of the listeners, I have a map over my shoulder. And every time we get an order from a new place, we get, we stick some pins in there, and it's getting pretty filled up, which makes me smile. So
Nice. And when you sell these cookies, retailers and your website, is it all individual flavor wise, or do you sell them in the whole, I guess, little panel, like the top shelf line, for example? I'm sure you offer the sample packs, but in the retailers, is it the same way, or can you get just the individual flavors?
Yeah, no, retailers, you buy them individually. You can purchase them either individually or as bundles on our website. We also have those top shelf flavors you tried today. We have them in really fun little packages that are great for like stocking stuffers and stuff like that. I'm not aware of any of our retailers selling them in bundles. Maybe they are and they're not telling me, but
Well, those gift
far as I know.
collections look perfect for gifting. And I'm always looking for different
thanks.
things, and I think they're well done.
Thank you. Yes, we do have gift boxes that we do for all kinds of occasions. That sometimes it's just our cookies in there, and sometimes we pair with some other really great local producers and put some pairings in there too. Unfortunately, we can't ship them with booze in them, so we don't get to create a gift box that has all the great pairings you guys tried tonight, because our rules are pretty strict up here. But yeah, we do pair them with some other non-boozy things that are really fun too.
And where
You can go buy your booze at any store near you.
Yeah,
Do it.
That's
that is
right.
true. You can.
That's right.
Or you can just go borrow some from Nick.
Yeah.
There you go.
Always
And where
ready
can
to share.
everyone follow you on social media and find you on your website? That we
Yeah,
talked
thanks.
about.
So website is realtreat.ca. Our Instagram is realtreatkitchen. That's our Facebook too. And our Twitter is not very interesting, but it's Real Treat Kitsch. So that tends to be not as busy as our Insta is, but we post lots of content to our Instagram and our Facebook. So we would love to engage with your community there.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll have links down in the description for you as well, for any listeners out there, to the website, to the Instagram and everything. So yeah, we had such a great time tasting the cookies,
It's
pairing
so
them
much
up.
fun.
Yep, it was a lot of fun. I look forward to trying some of that. What was it? It was ancho chili drinking chocolate.
Ancho chili drinking chocolate. Yeah, we'll get some out to you
I
for
look
sure.
forward. Thank you very much.
Great.
We had a great
Thank
time.
you.
Cheers.
I had so much
Cheers.
fun. Cheers to you guys. Have a great night.
Be sure to follow us on social at Uncorked Corner and on the blog at uncorkedcorner.com for a taste of more food and beverage content.
And if you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave a comment, subscribe, rate, and review on whatever podcast platform you prefer. Thanks for listening.